Joe Biden has failed this nation both domestically and globally. I know we talk about this almost every day lately, but honestly, this is a nation that is rudderless right now. And when I reflect on the real presidents that led this nation just once during my lifetime, the men who put everything on the line and declared that protecting America was the most important single thing we could do, well, it makes me, think about those days. We need real leaders in America again. It's never been more important than it is today. Never been more important. This republic stands unparalleled in the annals of history for spreading liberty, freedom, and yes, human rights. We've made mistakes, sure, but we had leaders willing to take charge and go forward, no matter how daunting the challenges were before us. These men were leaders. Strong leaders, most of them in recent decades, even the ones I didn't agree with. There were still ones that on most days I had respect for. But that veneer has begun to ebb away when personal goals were being put above everything else. The integrity of the office of the President of the United States began to be less important than personal achievement and political victories. Partisanship. There was a time when no matter what political party you were in, we could all agree on one thing: America first. And the world knew it. John F. Kennedy put it this way. Listen.
Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
Now, there was a pride in America, an America that was on the front end of a decade of change where we would rise to our higher ideals of freedom and equality and, yes, liberty. There was a time when Americans came together in common cause because we understood that freedom of thought, expression, religion, and of self-determination were the foundational principles and the cornerstones of our nation because they were and they are. Those things were taught in public schools before the unions and progressive teachers and professors infiltrated our institutions of learning and perverted the truth about who we are and our history, for example. We are a nation of hardworking people of every color and every race. America is the most diverse and equitable large nation on earth, period. Look around. Anyone who dares to say otherwise is either ignorant or dishonest or both. It's quite simple. There is no country on earth that provides more economic opportunities to 350 million people than the United States of America. That's not just here at home. It's a global phenomenon. Our success has rippled the world over, giving rise to other nations and people to rise above the poverty, to grasp freedom, to have hope. Is there more to do? Yes, of course. There always is. But to make America the villain is obscene and beyond the pale, frankly. There was a day when American presidents were the envy of the world. They were bold. They were formidable. They didn't ask permission to take a question from a reporter. No, they took charge like this.
Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Still gives you goosebumps, doesn't it? And when America was under threat or being attacked, whether we liked the person in the White House, whether we liked the person sitting in the Oval Office or not, it didn't matter. There were times when we all came to rally behind our country, when we all put America first. Listen.
I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
There was a day we had confidence that if the phone rang at 3 in the morning, the person that would answer the call was ready to protect us, the American citizens, to do what needed to be done. Today, I don't have that confidence. I don't believe Joe Biden is capable of answering that phone call, of doing the job at any level. That gives me no satisfaction, no pleasure to say. We've all seen Joe Biden lose a step. I mean, he isn't even the same guy who ran for president. His decline is dramatic, it's obvious, and it's a danger to all of us. On Capitol Hill Tuesday, instead of admitting the truth, however, about how far Biden has faded, Democrats, in their desperate bid to cling to power, which is more important to them, kept trying to attack the man who investigated the president for his illegal possession of classified documents dating back decades. Special Counsel Robert Hur on the Hill, he released a report a few weeks ago in which he made it clear Joe Biden was a sympathetic elderly man with a bad memory. And for that reason, he decided he wouldn't pursue any charges because he thought it would be difficult to convince a jury that he was still competent to stand trial at all, the president. And he made it very clear. His report did not exonerate Joe Biden, even when Democrats tried to yell over him. Listen.
So this lengthy, expensive, and independent investigation resulted in a complete exoneration of President Joe Biden. For every document you discussed in your report, you found insufficient evidence that the president violated any laws about possession or retention of classified materials. The primary law that you analyzed for potential prosecution was part of the Espionage Act, 18 U.S.C. 793E, which criminalizes willful retention or disclosure of national defense information. Is that correct?
Congresswoman, that is one statute that we analyzed. I need to go back and make sure that I take note of the word that you used, exoneration. That is not a word that
I'm going to continue with my questions. I'm going to continue with my questions. I know that the term
I ultimately reached related to whether sufficient evidence existed such that the likely outcome
you exonerated
would be a conviction.
I know that the term willful retention has a Mr. Hur, it's my time.
Man, I give him credit. He was not letting her get away with it. He was going to stand there and say, no, we did not exonerate, because exoneration and the word exonerate matter because they're legal terms. Joe Biden was anything but exonerated.